No one knows there's strength in numbers like Australia's growing Muslim population. It's estimated the recent census will find Muslim numbers have doubled to about 800,000. But leaders want more people and more power. A recent letter to the faithful declared democracy is just a numbers game. So tonight, in this exclusive report, Brian Seymour uncovers the recruitment drive to convert more Australians.
I read for about 3 years when I was in high school and then decided to embrace Islam when I was about 18.
Did you influence her to do this?
No, it was certainly her choice.
It's clearly a mistake to allow for Sharia law to be implemented in this country.
We believe as Muslims, every baby is born a Muslim.
First, my parents were quite astounded, a little bit shocked perhaps.
I think Australians have every right to be worried about this.
In a community centre in the suburbs, the Australian New Muslim Association gathers to celebrate the newest citizens of the Nation of Islam.
Regardless what we might have of our background of faith.
The turnout tonight, about 50 Muslims, some newly reverted to Islam. At the last census in 2006, officially there were 345,000 Muslims in Australia, although Islamic leaders believe that number could have been as high as 600,000. The reason is they believe many Muslims didn't tick off the box for fear of some kind of retribution. Well, this time round, the census just gone, they wanted to make sure that every Muslim was counted, and for a very good reason, and here's how they did it. In the lead-up to the recent census, Islamic leaders sent out this letter, calling on Muslims to tick their box on the census form to further their political aims, pointing out that democracy is just a numbers game.
I see huge numbers of parallels between what's happening in Britain and what's happening here.
Maryam Namazi fled Iran with her family when she was just 13 to escape the Islamic regime. She now runs a group named One Law for All, dedicated to stamping out Sharia law in Britain and here.
In fact, it's demanding citizenship rights and equality. Demanding separate rights and norms for people is racism, not the other way around.
Illallah, Muhammad.
25-year-old Sarah grew up a typical Australian Christian. She then decided to become a Muslim after leaving school. She's now married.
My husband takes care of me in every aspect of my life. If I choose not to work, he's obligated to financially support me.
Siddiq Buckley was born Richard Buckley before he realised he was being called to worship Allah.
It's a bit like buying a new pair of shoes when you first start out. You know, it feels a bit strange when you put them on, but you get used to it, you wear them in.
Sheikh Shadi Al Suleiman is one of Australia's first homegrown imams. He says you don't convert to Islam, you revert to Islam.
And the word Muslim in Islam in Arabic means submission and surrender. And submission and surrender is to the will of God, to the will of the Creator. And this is where our beloved Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, he says in one of his traditions that every baby that's born is born a Muslim. Then the parents of that baby will change his or her religion to whatever religion or faith that the parents are following.
As I filmed him, he talked about love and acceptance. Imagine my shock then when I viewed his many sermons at Lakemba, Australia's largest mosque. Here, for example, is how a wife should behave.
If you say, I want you to do this, she does it. When you make an oath, by Allah, I want you to, she fulfills your oath. And if you order her, she obeys you.
There's plenty more. Here, Sheikh Shadi explains all Muslim women should cover themselves.
When you hear a verse like this coming from your Lord, commanding you to wear the hijab, you say, Sami'na wa ata'na, we heard and we obeyed.
Maryam Namazi argues too many Islamists pretend to be moderates, with the real focus on grabbing political power. And she says racists are no better.
They're very similar if you look at them. They both are misogynist, they're homophobic, they're both excuse and use violence in order to promote their aims.
We need to say enough's enough.
Federal Liberal Senator Cory Bernardi has long argued that Islamic courts and politics have no place in a democracy.
The Australian Federation of Islamic Councils calling for legal plurality. We have groups like Hizb ut-Tahrir, which have been banned in so many countries around the world, having their national congress here in Australia. I mean, when are we going to say, hey, what's going on and why are we allowing this to happen?
Back at the Iftar celebration for new Muslims, the mood is optimistic, despite what they say are too often false perceptions about Muslims, their customs, and in particular, the rights denied women.
It's completely the opposite to what the media portrays.
Great, thank you very much. Thank you for talking to us.
We don't shake hands, sorry.
Oh, sorry, yes, of course. No, I did know that.
That's Brian Seymour reporting. Don't forget you can have your say on our website. You can also follow us on Facebook or Twitter as well.